We grow up believing success is this distant peak we climb to, a summit where everything clicks, where applause rains down, the money flows, the titles are engraved, and life feels complete. That's the version we're sold in movies and highlight reels. But in reality, success isn't that mountaintop moment, it's the steps you take to get there every day when nobody's watching. Truth is, success doesn't show up in one big burst. It drips in, slowly, like water carving through stone. It's not the one-time performance. It's the rehearsals, the practice, the sweat behind closed doors. The repetition, the commitment to doing the work not just once, but again and again with intention. Think about it, anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can crush a task when inspiration hits just right. But that's not what separates the good from the great. What sets them apart is the ability to show up even when they don't feel like it. To grind through the boredom, the doubt, the delay in results. That's where the real shaping happens. That's where success starts to build in the consistency of practice. You ever see a world-class musician play and think, how do they do that? It's not magic. It's scales, hours of rehearsal, broken strings, sore fingers. It's waking up every day and doing it all over again. The success isn't in the concert. It's in the routine that led to it. The performance is just the proof. Same goes for the writer, the athlete, the entrepreneur. Their success is forged not by a single big move, but by 1,000 small ones that no one ever sees. A page a day turns into a book. A workout a day becomes a transformation. A call a day builds a business. The process is where the power is. Now here's something important to understand. The results come later. You won't always see immediate returns, and that messes with people's heads, because we live in a world obsessed with fast. Fast food, fast money, fast fame, but success the kind that lasts, moves slow, it rewards patience. It favors the one who keeps showing up. Success doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence, for effort, for honesty. It's less about how hard you hit, more about how long you're willing to keep swinging. Let's be real. Doing something once doesn't make you good at it. Doing it repeatedly with purpose. That's what creates mastery. That's what builds trust in yourself. And when you trust your process, the results start to take care of themselves. Most people chase success like it's some final destination. But if you treat it like that, you'll either be too afraid to start or constantly disappointed you're not there yet. Flip that mindset. Don't ask, when will I get there? Ask, what am I building today? Because that's where success lies, in the work. In the routine. Now, this doesn't mean you don't set goals. It doesn't mean you don't dream big. But you understand those dreams are made real by what you do daily. The big picture is painted with tiny brushstrokes. Each choice you make either adds to it or takes away from it. Look at anyone you admire, someone truly successful. Not just rich or famous, but grounded, fulfilled, impactful. Behind every one of them, you'll find a pattern of behavior, a rhythm to their life. They've put themselves on a path and walk it with intention, day by day. They've made success a practice, not an accident. So here's the lesson. Stop waiting for the big moment to declare you successful. Start practicing the habits that make you successful right now. Success is not a lightning strike. It's a fire you tend to. Carefully, daily, intentionally, get clear about what you want. Then build the habits that lead you there. And do them whether you feel like it or not. Because the discipline to follow through on the small stuff, that's where the big stuff is born. Success isn't found later. It's found now in the things you're doing when no one's looking, in the commitments you make to yourself, and more importantly, in the ones you keep. You don't need to be extraordinary to start. But if you start and you stay consistent, you just might end up extraordinary. That's not fate, that's not luck, that's practice, that's routine, that's real success. Everything we do is part of a pattern, whether we recognize it or not. You wake up, you check your phone, you brush your teeth, you drink your coffee. Same order, same rhythm, same you. That's a routine. And whether it's intentional or accidental, it's shaping your life every single day. See, most folks underestimate the power of routine. But if you want results, real ones that last, you don't need a miracle. You need a system, you need a structure, you need a routine that works for you, not against you. Results are just outcomes, visible proof of invisible processes. And every result, good or bad, is tied to a habit that created it. That's the blueprint. You can't expect strong results from weak routines. You can't expect to feel confident, focused, or successful when your day runs on chaos, guesswork, and wishful thinking. You ever notice how the people who seem the most grounded, the most in control, also tend to have a rhythm to their life? They don't wake up wondering what to do. They know what's coming. They've built systems that move them forward without needing to think too hard. They've put intention behind their actions, and that intention becomes habit. That habit becomes identity. And identity, that's what produces the results you see on the outside. Let's talk architecture. You don't build a house by just stacking bricks. You need a plan, a blueprint. Something that tells you where things go, how strong they need to be, and what materials to use. Your life is no different. Your routine is that plan, every small decision. The time you wake up, how you spend your first hour, what you say yes or no to. Those are your construction steps. Each habit is a layer in your foundation. When your routine is built with care, it starts doing the heavy lifting for you. You stop wasting energy deciding what to do next. You stop second, guessing. That energy goes toward execution, toward movement, toward results. Let's say your goal is to get in shape. You don't need a perfect workout plan. You need a daily commitment to movement, 5 days a week, same time, no debate. It becomes part of you. Then your body changes. Not because of some magic trick, but because of consistency. That's the beauty of routine. It removes the friction. And with less friction, you move smoother, faster, further. Want to become more focused? Develop a morning routine that clears your head. No screen, 5 minutes of silence, maybe some journaling or a walk. Repeat that. Let it become second nature. You'll start noticing your mind feels less scattered, more calm. Again, not because of a miracle, because your routine gave your brain a reliable framework. Here's the truth. You already have routines. Everyone does, but not everyone has intentional routines. Some folks are living on autopilot, repeating patterns that don't serve them. Waking up late, skipping meals, procrastinating, reacting instead of responding. And they wonder why they feel stuck, why their goals feel so far off. It's not because they're incapable. It's because their blueprint is broken. When you take control of your routine, you take control of your direction. You become the architect of your day, not a passenger in it. And when your routine lines up with your values, when what you do daily matches who you want to become, then results aren't just possible. They're inevitable. Now, let's be honest. Routine can sound boring. It can sound rigid, but here's the thing. The right routine actually gives you more freedom. You spend less time stuck in decision fatigue. You gain more time to create, to build, to live with clarity. You're not shackled. You're streamlined. Your routine becomes a trusted rhythm, and that rhythm keeps you in flow. Small hinges swing big doors. That's what routine is. It's the hinge. It's not loud or flashy, but it turns your day. And when you keep turning in the right direction over time, you end up somewhere better. More focused, more aligned, more fulfilled. People want results, but they skip the process. They set goals, but don't respect the daily grind that makes those goals real. But there's no shortcut around that, no hack. The blueprint has to be laid out, and it has to be followed. Day by day, your routine doesn't have to be fancy, it just has to be consistent, it just has to be yours. Designed for where you are now and where you want to go. And once you find that groove, once you discover the routine that keeps your engine running, then you're no longer chasing success. You're living it one day at a time. So ask yourself, what's in your routine? Does it serve you or slow you down? Are you building with purpose or piling bricks at random? Because your results aren't determined by the goals you write down. They're determined by the systems you build around those goals, and that system, your blueprint, is your routine. Build it well, follow it daily, and let it take you exactly where you want to go. Most folks hear the word discipline, and they flinch a little, like it's a punishment, like it means restriction, rules, and rigidity. But if you take a closer look, a clearer look, you start to see something different. Discipline isn't a cage. It's a key, a tool, a lever, and when you use it right, it doesn't trap you. It frees you. That might sound backward, but let it settle for a minute. Think about the most free people you know, the ones who seem calm, in control, steady. They're not waking up in a panic. They're not sprinting through the day, always late, always chasing. No, they've got a rhythm, a groove. They show up for themselves, and that comes from discipline. You want to feel free, start by making promises to yourself and keeping them, because every time you say you'll do something and you actually follow through, your confidence grows. Your trust in yourself deepens. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop letting emotion dictate effort. That's not confinement, that's power. Now look the other way. What happens when you don't have discipline? You sleep in too late. You miss deadlines. You avoid the hard stuff. Sure, it feels good in the moment, but what does that freedom cost you? Stress, guilt, missed chances. It's a short-term fix with long-term pain. That's not freedom. That's just escape. Real freedom is earned, and discipline is how you earn it. Discipline lets you create structure, and structure gives you choices. When you plan your time and use it well, you create space. Space to think, space to grow, space to rest without regret. You control your day instead of letting the day control you. That's the kind of freedom that doesn't fade when the excitement wears off. Let's say you want to write a book, but you never make time to write. You just wait for inspiration to show up. Months go by, and all you've got are ideas floating in your head. No progress. Now imagine you decide to write for 30 minutes every morning, no matter what. Doesn't matter if it's perfect, doesn't matter if you feel like it. You show up every day, discipline. Within a few weeks you've got pages, then chapters. Before you know it, that idea becomes something real. And it's not because of some grand moment. It's because you chose structure. You chose discipline. And it gave you the freedom to create something lasting. It works the same in fitness, relationships, business, everything. If you eat whatever you want, whenever you want, you might feel free until your health starts to decline. That's not freedom, that's decay. But if you have the discipline to eat clean, to move your body, to sleep on time, you feel better. You move better. You think better. Your body becomes a vehicle for your life, not an anchor weighing it down. That's real freedom. Being strong, healthy, capable, or take finances. If you spend without a plan, buy on impulse, chase short, Short-term pleasure, you might feel rich today, but broke tomorrow. Discipline says, hold up, not yet. It makes you wait, save, invest, and in time it hands you real options. That's not sacrifice, it's strategy. Discipline gives you something short-term freedom never can, sustainability. And here's another truth. Discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being good to yourself. Future you, the version of you that wants to be proud, not regretful. That wants to wake up knowing they put in the work, made the right call, stayed on course when it would have been easier to drift. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent, and discipline gives you that consistency. It becomes your compass when emotions try to throw you off course, because you won't always feel motivated. You won't always feel strong, but discipline steps in when motivation checks out. It says, we keep going. Now, this doesn't mean every second of your day needs to be scheduled down to the minute. It's not about becoming a robot. It's about aligning your actions with your values, being intentional with your time, your energy, your attention. When you know what matters, discipline helps you protect it. That's freedom, knowing what to say no to, so you can fully say yes to what's worth it. And it doesn't have to start big. One habit, one commitment, one place in your life where you tighten up, where you build some structure. That's how you start to take back control. Discipline doesn't demand huge changes overnight. It asks for honesty. Are you living the way you say you want to live? If not, why? And what routine, what habit, what decision could bring you closer? Freedom is not the absence of responsibility. It's the result of ownership. When you own your time, own your choices, own your path, that's when you start living with real freedom. Not freedom from effort. Freedom because of effort, and discipline is what makes that effort count. So, the next time discipline feels like a burden, flip the lens. See it for what it really is, not a limit, but a launch pad. Because the more you own your choices, the more your life becomes yours to live. And that's the kind of freedom worth chasing. We're often told to dream big, reach for the stars, go all in, and that's good advice. But what they don't always tell you is that the big dreams don't happen all at once. They don't fall out of the sky. They're built layer by layer, day by day, out of the smallest, quietest actions. Success, real success, doesn't come from a single breakthrough moment. It comes from a series of small wins stacked on top of each other. And those wins, those tiny victories, build something powerful over time. Momentum isn't loud. It doesn't show up with fireworks. It starts like a whisper, like brushing your teeth before bed when you didn't feel like it, like going for a walk instead of another hour on the couch, like choosing water instead of soda, one choice, then another. Each one feels small, almost too small to matter, but it does matter, because each small win is a vote. A vote for the person you're becoming. See, we often underestimate the power of small. We think if it's not hard, if it doesn't hurt, if it doesn't break us down, it must not count. But that's where we get it wrong, the big shifts. The ones that really move the needle aren't usually dramatic. They're consistent, quiet, intentional. Take a look at a river. One drop of water doesn't do much. But over time, that river carves through rock. Slowly, surely, with persistence. That's what small wins do. They carve a path forward, shaping who you are, until one day you look up and realize you've come a long way. Now here's the catch. Small wins don't always feel like wins. There's no applause when you choose to get up early instead of hitting snooze. No trophy for showing up at the gym when you didn't want to. No celebration when you write one page of a book. But those moments matter. In fact, they matter more than the big ones because they're repeatable, they're reliable, and when repeated, they begin to compound. Think of momentum like a flywheel. At first, it's hard to move. You push and nothing seems to happen. You push again, still slow, but you keep pushing and slowly it begins to turn. Then a little faster, then smoother, and before long, that wheel is spinning on its own. That's the magic of momentum. It makes the hard things easier. And the only way to get there is through the small stuff, the unglamorous work, the stuff no one sees. And the truth is, big wins are often just a bunch of small wins that stayed the course. You don't run a marathon by leaping 26 miles. You run it one step at a time. You don't become fluent in a language by cramming one night. You study daily. You practice. You live in the repetition. That's how progress is made. When you commit to small wins, something else happens too. Your mindset starts to shift. You stop chasing perfection and start trusting process. You begin to believe in your ability to follow through. And that's self-belief, that's fuel. That's the kind of confidence that sticks around when motivation runs out. We all have days where we feel off, tired, doubtful. But when you've built up a stack of small wins, you've got proof. Proof that you're capable. Proof that you've done hard things before and can do them again. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps you grounded when the path gets shaky. Now let's be clear. Small wins don't mean small goals. It means breaking big goals down into manageable steps. It means zooming in instead of feeling overwhelmed. Want to write a book? Start with a paragraph a day. Want to get healthier? Drink an extra glass of water. Take the stairs. Want a better relationship? Ask more questions. Say thank you more. These aren't grand gestures. They're practical, they're real, and they move the needle, and here's the real beauty. Small wins are always available. You don't need special conditions. You don't need perfect timing. You just need willingness, the willingness to show up, to move forward even if it's only an inch, because an inch forward is still forward. You don't build momentum by waiting for the perfect day. You build it by making today count, even in a small way, even if all you can manage is showing up, because showing up is a win, especially on the days you feel like giving up. Small wins keep you in motion, and motion matters more than motivation. You can't control your mood, your energy, or the world around you, but you can control your effort. You can control your choices, and the more small wins you rack up, the easier it gets to keep going. Over time, those wins build identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying to be healthy," and start saying, "I am healthy." You stop saying, "I want to be productive," and start saying, "I get things done." You become the person you've been working toward, one small step at a time. So don't wait for a breakthrough. Don't wait for some big, life-changing moment. Start with a small win, then stack another, then another. Because momentum doesn't start with a miracle, it starts with a choice. One small, steady, honest choice. And if you keep choosing right, the momentum will carry you. That's how big things get built quietly, consistently, and on purpose. Let me know if you'd like this adapted for a classroom, workshop, or coaching setting. It works well as a reflection or journaling guide too.